Are you looking for true personal freedom? The freedom to design a life you truly desire? Then you're absolutely in the right place. True personal freedom comes from when you take 100% responsibility and control of your money and your mind. Here you're going to learn ideas, tips, and wisdom that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are now to your dream life in the future. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the RichMind Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the RichMind Podcast. First off, I want to thank you for joining me here in this episode. There are a lot of different podcasts, even videos on YouTube. There's so many different places to get information, and for you to choose me here on the RichMind Podcast means a ton to me, and I appreciate that. So first off, let me say thank you for joining me here on this episode. I was asked a question just a few weeks ago that really got me thinking, trying to figure out what the best answer was to that reply that I gave this person when he asked me this question. And I was really thought about it really hard even after the fact. And I thought that if I could craft a way to discuss it with you here on an episode today, that it could potentially be pretty valuable for you as we move to the end of 23 here and into 2024 in here just the next few weeks. If you're listening to this close to the release date of this episode, we are just a couple weeks away from beginning the 2024 new year, which is super exciting. But it can also be a little bit challenging, right? Not knowing exactly what the new year is going to bring, but at the same time, it's a great place to start over or even just start anew, right? Begin a new challenge, begin a new different way of thinking, different way of being. It's super exciting. I'm excited for it for me and my family, and I hope you are for you and yours as well. So that question the individual asked me was, how was it that you were able to launch the RichMind Podcast? I mean, where did you get the confidence from? Where did you think that you could do that? Where did you think that you could even just get in front of a camera like I am with you here today, or in front of the microphone if you're listening to this in audio? What made you think that you could do that? And as I mentioned, I sat and thought about that for a few minutes before I responded. And the word that came to mind, and the word that I want to share with you today, is courage. It really took courage to step out into something that I had no idea what was going to be. I really didn't know what to expect. I had some folks share with me some of their experiences that have tried to do something similar. But as far as like crafting my message, determining what platform to use, how I was going to show up every week, where the guests were going to show up that I was going to interview, the imagery, all of it, the editing, the entire process. I really, at the very beginning, I really had no idea. And so the one word that came to mind was courage. So today, I really want to share that I really hope for you to gain some courage into a new passion project for yourself. I've recently had discussions with somebody that's very close to me who is, let's say, just not happy with kind of their position in life. The job isn't necessarily going the way they would hoped. Their future is so bright. They've got so many fantastic things to look forward to, but they're just kind of in just kind of a messy middle, let's call it, right? Just kind of a transition. And my encouragement to her was to think back to when you were young, when you were a child. What was one thing or a few things that really set your heart, like really made you feel great about yourself? What is one thing that you would love to do or loved to do as a youngster that you could bring forward into today's message for yourself? Meaning it doesn't have to be what anybody else wants. It can almost be, you can consider it a hobby. It's like the podcast. Am I getting paid back for the effort that I'm putting forth? No, not necessarily. Am I making new connections every day? Absolutely. Will that pan out to be something in the future? Well, it remains to be seen. But the point is that I'm enjoying the process of being creative here on the podcast. So I was encouraging her to think back to some times in her life when she was younger of some things that she really loved. And just some of those things that she shared with me And I'll even share a few of the ideas even that I've had for myself as I was young. But for her was that she loves the season of Christmas. And that's fantastic. How many people out there enjoy just the season, just the idea, everything that's surrounded with the idea of the season of Christmas, just all of that is something that she really enjoyed. I said, great. So let's think about that for just a minute. Just kind of put a pin in that for a minute. And then I had her keep thinking a little bit further. What are some other things? And a couple other things that we kind of dug up was that she really enjoys to read. She enjoys stories. She enjoys telling stories. She enjoys being creative with her mind, and she has ability to do that through the written word. So the idea that I had came up with for her, and she did it with me, right? It's kind of an exercise, and that's why I'm encouraging you to do this today, is that with technology the way it is these days, it does not require a lot of things. They don't necessarily even cost a lot of money to start going down a path of having an idea and then putting your message, pull it together and getting it out there, whether you're sharing it with the world like I am with the podcast, or you're just keeping it to yourself. The point is that you're going to start doing things with passion. You're going to have the courage to step into those things. And then as you continue to step into them, you're going to start gaining confidence as you keep moving forward. So the idea then was with Christmas and with telling and sharing stories was that I encouraged her. I was trying to be encouraging to begin writing, begin thinking about, begin crafting stories. They can be for little children. They can be for young adults. They can be for so many different things. But the idea and the point that I want to get through you today is have the courage, step into who you are meant to be. For myself, a couple of things that I'm really trying to step into right now. Number one is being creative. I love being creative. I love trying to take an idea and I love trying to then come up with the solution, the plan. How am I going to get the final product? I can vision what I want in the future, and then I work backwards. And I love that process of the doing and the working and getting things done. This podcast is a perfect example. I had this idea for this podcast well over a year ago. And then I began to go to work with the imagery, with who was going to help me with some editing, who was going to help me with the distribution, who was going to help me with whatever, you name it. I began going to work, which then allows me then to show up with you here today. This is creative for me. Hitting record, looking into the camera, talking into the microphone is a lot of fun. It really fires my mind in a way that it's hard to describe unless you've tried it. It's not necessarily hard. I can see how it can be uncomfortable for folks, but for me, it's been a lot of fun. Another thing for myself growing up that I really haven't shared with a whole lot of people, but I'm going to try to figure out how I can incorporate this into my life as well. I can remember growing up, I've always wanted to be a race car driver. Yeah, that's right, a race car driver. I love cars. I'm not necessarily a mechanic. I can be a mechanic, meaning I can do basic things on a car. I don't have a problem doing any of those things, but the exhilaration of driving and tearing through gears, taking corners, all of that I get super, super excited. That's something that I need to go and venture into and figure out how I can incorporate some of those things. I need to have the courage to step into that thought and that idea. And how can I make something like that happen? And I will get there. I'm trying to obviously take one step at a time, but that is something for myself that I'm trying to work on every single day. So I'll leave you with that today. This will be a relatively short message today, but the first part is I want you to think of having courage. That is what my answer was to the question that I had as far as when someone questioned me, how and why did I think that I could launch a podcast without necessarily even having really a following. And my answer was simply, I had courage. I wanted to do it and I stepped into it and I made it happen. Similar situations when I left the W-2 world. It's like, how can you step away from a job, a secure job, a safe, quote unquote, safe, secure job, and step into this entrepreneurial world? And it's called courage. I stepped into it and learned from my mistakes and kept moving forward, pivoted, and then I continuously gain confidence. And as you gain confidence, then the fear goes away. And then you can step into the next phase, which is, for me, figuring out a way to become a race car driver. So stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. So today, find some courage. If you can find someone to speak into your life, some encouraging thoughts, the people that are being discouraging to you, you need to get them away from you as quickly as you possibly can. Don't be listening to things or hearing things from other people, whether it's in your close proximity or even if it's in your virtual world, of being discouraging to you, saying that you can't do certain things or that we shouldn't do certain things. None of that is true. Those are all made up false beliefs that you need to get out of your environment as quickly as you possibly can. So find encouraging ideas. I'm hoping that this message today is encouraging to you. Think through, what are some passion projects? What are some things that you really would love to do? And then let's have the courage to step into figuring out exactly how to bring those ideas to life. So folks, I hope you found this message valuable today. As always, I appreciate you being here. As I mentioned at the very beginning of the episode, I just truly appreciate you joining me here on the RichMind Podcast. It's been so much fun for me. I hope it's been super valuable for you. And if it has, I would greatly appreciate if you would go to the podcast platform that you're listening to and leave me a review. I would greatly appreciate that. Anything that you can do to help me spread the message of the RichMind Podcast, once again, I would be greatly appreciative of that. So go out there, have a fantastic day. We are just a few weeks away from the new year, 2024. If you celebrate Christmas, we're just a week or maybe 10 days away from Christmas being right around the corner as well. So go out there, have a fantastic day, enjoy the holiday season. Think through, where can I add some courage into my life, and then step into it. And you never know what the outcome will be, but I promise you it's going to be a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye now. Thank you for joining me on the RichMind Podcast. I hope you found a ton of value in this episode. If so, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review, and you can also share it with your family and friends. And as my mentor Jim Roden shared with me, in order to have more, you must first become more. And in order to become more, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So go out there today and work harder on yourself to become more and build the life of your dreams. Until next time, my friends.